Hey there, soulmates. It's your girl, Dr. Melissa, back with another soul stirring episode of Standing on Business, where it's not just business, it's personal. So, today we're going to be diving deep into a topic that is critical for every purpose driven entrepreneur, and that is how to prioritize fulfillment. In other words, the importance of self-care. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, Dr. Melissa, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have time for self-care. I'm way too busy serving others and building my business, and so I'll get around to that later on. Well, listen, my dear soulmates, let me share a little truth with you. You, not even you, as fabulous as you are, you cannot pour from an empty cup. An empty cup has nothing to give. So you need to make sure that you are full before you can feel anyone or anything else. So when I talk about in my purpose method, prioritize fulfillment, we need to be full before we can pour out and feel anything or anyone. So by that token, I want you to understand that self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. Now I'm saying all that, right? Just like, I'm just be sure to take care of yourself. But I'm going to tell you that I learned that lesson the hard way. There was a time on my entrepreneurial journey when I was literally burning the candle at both ends. I was like so many of you, I was just so focused on serving others and building my business, trying to be everything to everyone, that quite honestly, I completely neglected myself. And so, you know what happened? I crashed hard. I found myself with a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, exhausted, overwhelmed, and completely disconnected from myself, my purpose, and the reason I had started the business in the first place. Soulmates, it was a wake-up call. I realized that if I wanted to truly make an impact, if I wanted to serve others at the highest level, like what was in my heart to do, I wanted to serve people, and I wanted to serve them to the degree that their lives would change. But I realized that in order to do that, I needed to start taking care of myself. I needed to prioritize my own fulfillment, my own self-care. So let me share a personal story with you. After that dreadful brain cancer diagnosis and the eventual passing of my husband of 31 years that many of you have heard me talk about, I was truly in survival mode. I was just so focused on trying to rebuild my life and provide for my children, that I really, truly just put my own needs last. I had been a caretaker for 4 years, and so I was just in the mode of taking care of other people and making sure everybody was good and looking strong, even if I didn't feel strong. And I'll be honest with you, by doing this, I actually thought I was being strong and being a good mother and being a good leader. But in reality, I was running on empty, which was not the example or legacy that I wanted to leave for my children, especially since I was the only parent they had left. So I just took a hard look at myself one day in the mirror. And I realized that I did not recognize that woman that was staring back at me. Her eyes no longer had a sparkle or light. They were just dark and sad. Her smile looked forced. I realized that the trauma of the 4-year assault on everything that I had held dear in my life had taken a tremendous toll on me. And I will tell you that it wasn't until I started prioritizing self-care, getting enough sleep, nourishing my body, taking time for activities that filled my soul. It wasn't until that I truly started to feel alive again and then to thrive again. And you know what? When I thrived, everything around me thrived too. My business grew, my relationships deepened, my impact expanded. You see, this journey taught me something profound, something I didn't know before. And that is self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Self-care is the foundation upon which we build our purpose-driven lives and businesses. So, how do we start prioritizing fulfillment and self-care? Well, I'll tell you that it begins with mindset. We need to first release the guilt about taking care of ourselves and recognize that taking care of ourselves isn't selfish. It's responsible. It's one of the most responsible things we can do because it's how we ensure that we have the energy, the creativity, and the resilience to show up fully for our purpose and to show up for our calling to serve others. Next is about creating non-negotiable self-care practices. Say it with me, non-negotiable. These are the things you do every day, no matter what, to fill your cup. It might be meditation. It might be exercise. It might be journaling, or simply just taking a few deep breaths before you start your day. Soulmates, the key to this is consistency, right? Non-negotiable and consistent. For me personally, I walk every day, rain or shine. Somebody said to me before, even when it rains? And I said, now I'm sweet, but I'm not sugar. Only sugar melts in the water or in the rain. I'm not sugar, so I won't dissolve in the rain. So yes, even in the rain. Why? Because this is my time to pray. It's my time to connect with myself and to express my gratitude. It's my time to hear that still small voice that often gets drowned out in the busyness of our day. Now, another super important practice is about listening to your body and honoring its needs. Are you tired? Then rest. Are you hungry? Put down that report and eat. Eat nourishing foods, okay? Eat foods that feed you in a healthy way. Are you feeling disconnected? Then take the time to do something that brings you joy. Our bodies are magnificent creations, and your body knows exactly what it needs. So, here's what I'll say to you. Listen to your body's whispers before your body becomes a mechanism of screaming. When your body is whispering to you and you don't listen, it will start screaming. And here's another way to look at that. You can either make time for your wellness or you can make time for your illness. Your choice. Ooh, I'm sorry. I think I dropped the mic on you right before we take this quick commercial break. I know y'all, but just be sure to come on back. I hope that wasn't too brutal. Come on back because we've talked about how to prioritize self care with some practices. But on the other side of the break, we're going to dive into the tangible, practical strategies that you need to do, as my mentor says, stand at the front of your own line. See you in a bit.
Welcome to a unique brew of perspectives. What's the Tea with Gen XYZ is your one-stop spot for a fresh take on today's burning issues. Representing 3 generations, a Gen X icon, a millennial maverick, and a Gen Z trailblazer stir up conversations ranging from social justice to pop culture. They'll bring the heat, spill the honest truth, and find common ground across the years. Expect humor, candor, and perhaps a dash of healthy debate. Enlightening, insightful, and sure to stir the pot. Stay tuned for a stimulating dialogue that bridges the generation gap, one cup at a time.
Okay, welcome back, soulmates. Now, before the break, we talked about the importance of prioritizing fulfillment, self-care. So now let's go ahead and dive into some practical strategies for incorporating self-care into your busy entrepreneurial lifestyle. First thing, let's talk about creating a morning routine. And I alluded to that before the break. How you start your day, soulmates, sets the tone for everything that follows. So nailing that morning routine is critical. Even if it's just 15 minutes, I want you to carve out some time each morning for practices that center you and that fill your cup. Now, this might be meditation, prayer, affirmations, gentle movement, or simply enjoying a cup of tea in silence. Whatever it is, I want you to be intentional about it. The next strategy is consider implementing regular white space in your calendar. This is basically the time that's not scheduled for anything specific. For some of you, when I look at your calendars, there's just not even the space to breathe. No good. Create white space in your calendar because this gives you breathing room. It's going to give you time for spontaneity, for reflection, or for just simply being mindful and present with yourself. I'll tell you, in our busy lives, this white space is crucial for your creativity and for your well-being. Now, another strategy, another powerful practice is to conduct regular self-care check-ins, right? Maybe at the end of each week, I want you to assess how you're feeling physically, emotionally, and spiritually. During this assessment time, I want you to ask yourself, what do you need more of? What do you need less of? Right? And then use these insights to adjust your self-care practices for the coming week. Okay? We're basically looking at what we're doing and making sure it works. Sometimes we can get so married and committed to a routine that we don't check in to make sure that it's still relevant and that it's still effective. So I want you to do these check-ins. I want you to remember, soulmates, that self-care looks different for everyone. So just grabbing a hold to somebody else's routine and running with it may not be the best practice. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. What fills your cup might drain someone else's. Okay? What fills their cup might drain you. So the key is to discover what truly nourishes you, what feeds your soul and your spirit, and then make that a priority. Okay, so now it's time for our Q&A segment, where I get to connect with you directly and answer your burning questions about prioritizing fulfillment and self-care. So our first question comes from Sheila, and Sheila writes, I feel guilty taking time for self-care when there is so much to do in my business. How do I overcome this guilt? Sheila, I don't even know how I got through this question without just laying my head down. It was, it's like you just climbed into my thoughts from 10 years ago. Absolutely. This guilt, Sheila, is so common among entrepreneurs. But here's what I want you to remember: taking care of yourself is a part of your job, it's not separate from your work. Taking care of yourself is what enables you to be able to do your best work. So I want you to think of self care as one of your entrepreneurial duties. Okay? And I also want you to start reframing self care as an investment in your business. Not even just a duty, it's an investment. You see, when you are well nourished, well rested, and centered, you're more productive, you're more creative, and you are better able to serve your clients. So, self care is not selfish, it's actually strategic. Also, I want you to remember that you're modeling behavior for others. In the country, we used to say you got to eat your own dog food. Don't ask me what that means. It's just something we used to say. Basically, if you want your clients, your family, your team to prioritize their well being, then you need to walk the talk. Your self care is setting an example, an important example for all of those around you. Um, and I will say, lastly, start small. That's something I've been saying here because I sometimes we try to take on these huge tasks and we want to get it all done at one time. I want you to start small. You don't need to take a week-long retreat, although that would be lovely, and I highly recommend that you do it at least once a year. But you don't need to take this week-long retreat to get started with prioritizing self-care. Even 5 minutes of deep breathing, or one of my personal favorites, a short walk, can make a huge difference. And then you can just build from there. Notice how these small acts of self-care positively impacts your work and your life. Okay? Thanks for the question. The next question comes from Michelle. And Michelle asked, I'm not sure what self-care looks like for me. How do I figure out what practices will truly fill my cup? Great, great, great question, Michelle. Here's what I will say. Self-care is deeply personal. What works for one person might not work for another. So here's how you can start to discover what fills your cup. I would say first, reflect on the times when you have felt truly relaxed, truly joyful and energized, right? What were you doing? Who were you with? What environment were you in? Okay, these are going to be clues to what nourishes you. All right. I would say next, experiment. That's you got to experiment. Try different self-care practices and then pay attention to how you feel afterwards. So, does a morning walk or run energize you or deplete you? Does meditation calm your mind or make you anxious? There's no right or wrong answer. It's really about discovering what works for you. And then also, I would tell you to consider this is important. Consider the different dimensions of self care: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, social, right? And then aim for practices that can nourish you in each of these areas. Your practices will look different for the spiritual dimension than it would probably the social or the physical dimension. Okay, so let's be sure that we're being, we talk about holistic and I call it solistic. Make sure that we're being solistic in our approach to self care. And then this is the other thing, Michelle, I would tell you to remember that your self care needs may change over time, and that's completely okay. It did for me. I will tell you, when I was younger, I was energized and rejuvenated by going out dancing. Loved it. And don't get me wrong, I still love to dance, but it just hits a little different now that I'm in my 50s. Oftentimes, if I go out to dance, it's going to result in needing a day to recover with my whole house smelling like Bengay. Yeah, for those of you that don't know what Bengay is, look it up. Here's the thing. The key is to just stay in tune with yourself and then be willing to adjust your practices as needed. I hope that was helpful. Whew. All right, soulmates, what a nourishing exploration we've had today. As we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with this. Your well-being is not a luxury. It's not something that you get to someday when you're less busy. It is the foundation of everything you do, everything you create, every way that you serve. Prioritizing your fulfillment isn't selfish. It's how you ensure that you have the energy, the creativity, the resilience to fully live your purpose and to make your impact on the world. So, this week, I challenge you. I challenge you to commit to one new self-care practice. Something small, something doable, but something that truly fills your cup. And then I want you to share that in our community, or if you're not a part of our community yet, send us an email. Let us, that way we can support each other in prioritizing our well-being and celebrating those positive ripple effects that it creates in our lives and our businesses. Remember, soulmates, I know that you're a superhero, but you cannot serve from an empty vessel. You have to fill your cup first, and then trust that in doing so, you're expanding your capacity to serve others and to live your purpose more fully. So, let me thank you for tuning in to Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa. I hope that today's discussion has ignited a fire within you to embrace your authenticity, prioritize your growth, and infuse your business with purpose. If you want more information about me, please visit our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then follow me on all of those socials. And then, if you're then ready to take your business to the next level and align it with your purpose, I'm going to invite you to join our free community, the My Soul Purpose community. There, you're going to have the opportunity to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, gain clarity on your purpose, and develop a roadmap for aligning your business with your authentic self. This community is absolutely free. So, to learn more and secure your spot, you can join us at community.purposeprofitess.com. I cannot wait to serve and support you there. So, join me next week as we dive deeper into the strategies and mindset shifts that are needed to build a purpose-driven business. I want you to remember that you are purposeful and you are powerful. I believe in you, and I cannot wait to see the incredible things that you're going to achieve. So, until next time, soulmates, keep standing up, keep standing out, and keep standing on business.